Welcome back to another episode of Breaking and Adventuring, where we look in the life of the Adams County Sheriff's Office and beyond. We're going to share the background stories and experiences of the men and women of the Adams County Sheriff's Office and the greater law enforcement and public safety community. So I'm your host, Commander Adam Sherman, and with me today is Officer James Seneca from the Aurora Police Department. So I appreciate you being here. And we're just going to take a closer look at just his law enforcement journey, and then also into a huge event that he puts on every year called the Long Blue Line. So as we get started, just if you want to tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into law enforcement.
Sure. I can talk, hopefully condense it 38 years of my life in about 15, 20 minutes.
There we go. We'll do a Cliff Notes version.
We'll do my best. So yeah, I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. So go Bills. So I was in 2 weeks in academy in Buffalo, New York in 1987. And I thought I had the flu, and lo and behold, I had leukemia. So,
oh my gosh,
yeah, it was like got hit with a hammer, and you just think it's not real, it's a bad dream, and so I was in the best shape of my life. I was 26 years old at the time.
Yeah, you seemed like impenetrable at that age, and
well, I was probably the best shape. I was 215 pounds. I was just killing it physically. So, and I just didn't feel right. I thought I had the flu or some kind of bug that I couldn't get rid of, and went to my doctor, and he sent me across the street, and he says, you got to go across the street. And I'm like, that doesn't sound normal. So, they did some tests, and lo and behold, like I said, I was in shock that I had acute myelocytic leukemia, and my chances of survival were 30%. So when you hear all these things and it's just going 100 miles an hour, and I was not happy that happened to me. So, I had to fight it with everything I had, and, went through 6 months of chemotherapy, and you hear all these horrific stories, and you got to go back 38 years.
Yeah.
Ago. So when they tell you chances are only 30%, I'm like, wow, that's not very good chances. But, I took it on like a fighter, and I went down 165 pounds and lost a lot of weight, about 50, 60 pounds. And then, you living with the uncertainty and all these complications, and, you're not sure if you're going to survive or make it. But I got through it because of my friends and family. And after a year of being inactive, and then I went up to 255 pounds.
Oh.
And then I had to lose all that weight. So I started losing weight, and I got back into shape. And then 2 years later, I did a half marathon.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I got back in a job and got back healthy. And then I was there at the Niagara Frontier Transportation Authority for 6.5 years. And that was my dream, to come out here to Colorado. And lo and behold, I got called by the Aurora Police Department in July 1995. And then I started academy in August of 1995. And I've been here 30 years.
That's incredible. Wow. Were they the first ones to call you back? Like when you were putting out some applications, or did you always want to go?
I was always in the back of my mind. In the early 80s, I applied for Boulder, and that didn't work out in 83 and 84. And then I got on a job in Buffalo, and then stayed there for 6.5 years. I got promoted, but I was always in the back of my mind to come out here.
And, go west, young man.
Yeah, and I did. So
that's awesome.
And then I came out here, and like I said, it's been 30 years later, and then I was working in the city attorney's office doing serving subpoenas for our police department, and I read this article about a little girl that had cancer, and I was just totally, as you know, and I think everybody knows, I'm an emotional guy, and I was so it was a heart-wrenching story about a little girl named Brianna, and I just I got to do something. I got to help this little girl, and we put our first fundraiser together in August of 2003. So so that kind of got the ball rolling with Cops Fighting Cancer. And stepping back a little bit, in December of 2002, we started going to Children's Hospital in Denver. That's when it was in Denver, and Adams County was there. Adams County has been they've been with us for the past 23 years. This will be our 23rd year coming up in December, and it started out as something small, and I bought some stuffed animals. I got those donated, some coloring books, crayons, and we just started going to Children's Hospital in Denver, and a couple of departments were there, and the word spread. Other departments, Jeffco, like you guys were there. Denver got involved, and other departments got involved, and that was in December of 2002. And then we started officially, Cops Fighting Cancer was born in August of 2003. when we did that fundraiser for Brianna. And today she's a nurse, and she's a miracle as well.
That's incredible. Wow. Well, then that brings me to a question I had a little bit later, but like, what did that first year look like? You know, the kind of the challenges, and, you know, here you are, you're on the job, you're doing that, but then also you have this passion project on the side. Like, what were some of the kind of the challenges, but also some of the victories you saw in
Well,
the
you know,
first
like I
year?
said, when I talked about it, it started out small, and it got bigger and bigger, and more people wanted to get involved
Yeah.
in more departments, and then we just had expanded. So I just tried to think of ideas to make it cooler and just kind of most obviously for the kids, just to make it
Yeah.
special for the kids, make them feel special. You know, we changed from coloring books and crayons and stuffed animals to getting toys donated, and that was a challenge. Like you said, challenges picking up 4,000 or 5,000 toys
Yeah.
at 20 different locations was a challenge. So getting donations, and we just seemed to grow, and just trying to make it. You know, we got sponsors on board, and just trying to make it special for the kids. And you know, it was in the beginning we were able to visit with the kids, and you know, as COVID hit, we couldn't visit with the kids, and that was a you know, a bummer for everybody. But you know, you got to protect the kids; they're our first priority. But you know, it just evolved from getting a small group of officers in the beginning, and it just got bigger and bigger, and it became a long blue line. Just this long blue line. And, you know, we have breakfast in the morning, as you know, and then we have some festivities and just some ceremonies and just some fellowship and just getting together, and just, you know, we don't normally get together with other departments. So it just kind of, it's just, it's pretty cool to be able to do that and talk about, hey, what are you doing over here in Adams County? Oh, hey, what are you doing in Arapahoe County? So it really brings all the departments together and people together for the sake of the kids at Children's Hospital.
Yeah. And just on an experience I've seen, usually if we do have to come together like that, it's giant
Right.
crisis, right? And, you know, we're here, we're kind of scrambling, agency assisting. So be able to come in a lighthearted environment, then also welcome in, you know, families of maybe some of the kids who might have been in the hospital the year prior and things like that, or just other, and the donors, and just, you know, the private businesses to all be a part of that and be more of a joyous occasion and celebratory is
Exactly.
huge. I mean,
Exactly. And that's how it's evolved over the past 23 years. Like I said, on December 4th of this year will be our 23rd annual. We start at breakfast at Bueller Companies. They've been a sponsor for, I'm going on 5 or 6 years, and
yeah,
they just embrace it. It's their project. I just tell them what we need. They take care of it. I don't have to worry about that part, and they just make it special for the officers. We have breakfast in the morning. My friend George Beal, he's in charge. He's the chef. He takes care of all that. We have a coffee company. We have a donut donation as well. So,
what?
yeah, donuts. So we'll talk about
What?
that story as you know.
That's weird.
Yeah, it won't be so weird in a couple minutes
Okay.
here. But you know, I was, you know, I think through my head, I'm like, how can we make this even more fun?
Yeah.
We got breakfast. We have a ceremonial roll call. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I said, why not a donating contest?
Why? It sounds logical to me.
You know, so you get a nice little trophy, as you know. It's a coffee cup with handcuffs and a coffee mug and a donut.
Yeah.
So, and they get a gift certificate as well of their choice. And then we kind of changed the rules a little bit, but it's last couple of years, whoever can eat 5 large donuts in 5 minutes is a winner. So, but it's fun. It's people rally and they're screaming and yelling, and it's just a great event, a very humbling event. Once we finish with that, then we have a roll call, and then we line up, and then it's probably 2 miles long of
Yeah.
a long blue line of officers going to Children's Hospital.
Yeah. And it's great seeing, and again, too, when you see kind of a long line like that, it's usually something negative, a
Right.
procession or funeral or something. So again, to have it celebratory is great and fulfilling, at least, you know, in my experience. So, and I'm sure a lot of people share that, but also too, like we've on our end, like I'll have people reach out like, hey, can I bring, you know, this specialized vehicle? Can I, you know, we have one guy who loves bringing out our giant court bus, and it's like, and you've always been like, absolutely,
Right.
the more the merrier.
As long
So-
as you're not the prisoners, we're okay with that.
yeah,
but-
leave the prison. You know, all the inmates
Yeah.
can stay at jail or court. But yeah, even, you know, some of the turns are a little tight, and it's like, hey, you know what, we've got it. And seeing people even like, you know, line the roads, or they'll pull over and just wave because they, you know, hear about it, advertise that it's happening. It's just a great way for people to just be a part of something special.
Well, as you know, it's a great event. We come there, we come together, We can tell jokes and laugh and not worry about our back.
Yeah.
When you have 250 cops in that one room, so I don't think you're worried about your back. So it's just, I get emotional every year. I mean, this
Yeah.
will be our 23rd year. I'm trying to hang on for 25 years. That's 2 more years. That would be amazing if I could do that. But, like I said, with COVID, that really created some challenges because we were able to visit with the kids, and that was such a humbling experience. And I've had tough, hard-nosed cops come to me when they went up and visit with the kids years ago and said, "Jim, I can't do this anymore because I can't see these sick kids." And it's very humbling. And I've seen many, many sick kids. And so coming from donating toys and crayon books and crayons and stuffed animals to COVID was a blessing in one way. It's hard to believe, but they kind of strayed away from the toys because they didn't want the contamination and that sort of thing. So we get donations, and we raise about $9,000 in donations, and each child gets a $25 gift card. So we present the hospital with a nice gift box with $350 $25 gift cards. So each child gets a $25 gift card. So that saves us from running around the city and Denver metro area at 20 locations to pick up 4,000 or 5,000 toys. So that was a great idea.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's such a great event, but even just, as you grow, I'm sure you're just like, logistically, you're like, man, this is where do we store all these toys?
Yeah,
And all that. So the transitioning to the gift cards is nice.
I have the template. People ask me all the time, well, what happens if you retire? I'm like, it would be nice for someone to pick up the torch.
Yeah.
Someday. I have the template. It's not that hard. So if I do retire someday, I would hope somebody would take the torch and continue this ceremony. But I'm pretty sure, I'm positive there's no other ceremony like it in the state. And I'm pretty sure it's probably one of the largest events in the country.
Yeah, I'll tell you, just being in the mix, it gets a little competitive at the roll calls of who can have the most people, who can be the loudest and most unique, and so it's a lot of fun.
It is a fun, and that's the whole idea: is to feed you, have some fun, and just some laughs, and then just go to the hospital and bless these kids with some happiness.
Yeah, and it's one of those events where we deal with so much stuff as first responders that whether it's negative or just hard to deal with, and understand that's one of those events that kind of really fulfills your cup of your purpose of why we got into this field.
We changed we changed it to Joe Bumberger Long Blue Line event. We changed it about 5 or 6 years ago. Joe worked in our traffic unit. He played a intricate part in putting this together. And unfortunately, about 5 or 6 years ago, he died in his sleep. He passed away, but at his funeral, it was brought to my attention that he loved this event. He put a lot of heart and soul into this event. So it was a no-brainer for me to say it's still the Long Blue Line event, but technically it's the Joe Bumberger Long Blue Line event. So we can remember Joe in his memory every year.
Absolutely. And I get to see his name every time I glance out my window, and there's a beautiful trophy sitting there. So,
right.
Yeah.
So once you tell our viewers about this is a champion of champions of donating contest.
Well, in my youth, a couple years ago, I was, you have wonderful greeters over at Bueller's. So it came in and they're just like, "You can enter the contest." I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I put my name down, and sure enough, get matched up, and here's these giant cake donuts that, are a little bit more hearty than some of your other donuts. So then it got a little daunting, but just perseverance, and I didn't train at all, which is surprising, but I tried to embody my full Joey Chestnut.
You really wanted that trophy, I can tell.
I wanted the trophy. Yeah, I wanted the trophy, and maybe the gift card too.
Sure.
I had a little incentive, but yeah, and then of course, even internally. So I won in 2022. So I got my trophy, and it sits in my office. Then even internally with our agency, more people came out the following year because they're like, I want to win. I'm going to beat you. And I'm like, all right. So then I gave it a shot in 2023 and ended up losing. I think it was a Denver officer that took it that year, and he smoked us. So that's where I was like, okay, I'm out of my league. I'm done. And then last year's, I think we were over 2 tables.
Right.
And the science now, guys are smashing, and they're just trying to really get into the molecular content of the donuts so they can adjust them quicker and quicker.
Yeah, I got to keep an eye on them because they, start dipping them in water. But it just, like you said, we had to have 2 stages of this contest. So It's fun. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's a good time. So that's just part of what we do.
Right. And it's one of those things where, because my kids sometimes be like, oh, you love donuts because you're a cop? I'm like, hey, everybody loves donuts. Like,
Yeah.
of course. Like,
Yeah.
why not? So that's a great way
Like I
to
said earlier,
show it off.
we're always looking for donations. You can go to our website at copsfightingcancer.org. I mean, this event usually costs between $10,000 and $15,000 to put it together. Like I said, George Beal, he puts on that spread for breakfast. The donuts are donated. But we can always use donations for the gift cards.
Yeah.
And you can go to our Facebook page or our website, like I said, at copsfightingcancer.org.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm going to cross off that question for later.
Yeah.
So the long blue line. Now, talk to us a little about just cops fighting cancer, because I also had a personal experience with that, where when there are law enforcement officers who are dealing with chemotherapy and their families, what does cops fighting cancer do for them?
Well, we'll get calls, or I'll use Children's Hospital, for example. And it's very heart-wrenching when you get phone calls from Children's Hospital when families, their children pass away and they can't afford a funeral. So they reach out to me and they'll say, Officer Seneca, can you help this family? And I said, sure. We have some donations that, can go towards their funeral. It can go towards, maybe some utilities, some basic medical costs. But I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, it just, we never have enough money. We never have enough donations to help all these families. We gear towards families in Colorado, but if you're from out of state and you're being treated at Children's Hospital or university or anywhere else in Colorado, we can help you as well. But, our donations range from $800 to $1,000, depending on our fund.
Yeah.
But, I mean, every story is different. Every situation is different. All these stories are heart-wrenching, but especially when it comes to kids.
Yeah. Do you have any that stand out? So you mentioned your first one where now she's a nurse herself. But do you have any other standout ones? Or I'm sure there's so many.
Brianna Roberts from Aurora, she stands out. She's a miracle. She probably should have never got through her cancer. She had a rare form of cancer, but she got through it. And lo and behold, she'll be 26 years old in December, and she's a nurse. Yeah. So, I mean, David Hernandez, he's a nurse. His situation looked pretty bleak, so he's a nurse. Brianna Roberts, or not Brianna Roberts, I mentioned earlier, but a young lady from Greeley, her name was Brianna, and she was just special. I don't know what it was about her. She was just, very special. All these kids are special, but some of them stand out. McKenna is another one that's special. I could go on and on and on, but how I look at it, it's so humbling. And you or I, or mostly you, I mean, if you maybe meet a few people in your lifetime that had cancer that are pretty special, but I've met hundreds and hundreds of people, not only kids, but adults that are just extraordinary, just so strong, so not willing to give up. Mm-hmm. And you see that and you get to meet them and like, wow. And they adopt you as a family member. Yeah. And how amazing is that I'm able to experience that every year.
Yeah. And it sounds like you have relationships with a lot of these families still, or at least have contact.
I do. I try to keep in touch with them, but with life being so busy, but I mean, I'll run into people randomly in a restaurant or something like, hey, Officer Seneca, do you remember me? I'm like, kind of sort of remind me. And it's someone we helped years ago. Yeah. So that happens all the time. And, it's been a great journey. Maybe someday I'll write a book about all these great stories.
There you go. Yeah.
But it's just been extraordinary. I can't even begin to say.
And even just that brought up another memory of just, you usually have a family come in too, right before we do the kickoff. Right. And everybody just gives them love, puts hands on each other, just sends them all the good vibes and loves and prayers that we can. And that just even in the moment seems to be so impactful for them and their family that are there.
Each year we try to look at it differently. In the last couple of years, we had our mounted division come up with an idea. Not Aurora Police Department. We don't have a mounted division, but someone came to me and they said, "Hey, how about us being part of this procession and the horses and that sort of thing?" So that has evolved as well. So for the past 3 years, we have mounted divisions from across Denver metro area, from Arapahoe County, Denver, all the different localities. And so when we arrive at the hospital, they are there waiting for us on their horses, and they have little ponies and that sort of thing. So it just added a different dimension, and just I didn't know what to expect, but when we seen them, when we pulled up, just incredible.
Yeah, looks great. And even as we arrive, you know, you've got usually a line of families and kids kind of out by the front entrance, but then of course you look up and just see all the faces smiling, waving in the
Right.
windows. What do you hope the takeaway is for the kids and the families that are seeing all this as we approach and get
Well,
set?
besides their $25 gift card, just brighten their day.
Mhm.
You know, as we all know, it's not fun being in hospital, period. It's definitely not fun being in hospital around Christmas time. So that's how it all started 23 years ago. So, you know, if you can just bring these kids a little joy and a little inspiration, then it's all worth it. That's what it's all about.
Well, I mean, do you have a special message for kids and families that they can take away from this event? You know, because I know now we can't talk to each and every one of them, but you know, if any of them are watching this or in the future, do you have a special message for them that you'd like to say?
I think just that we care, that I think every officer that goes there every year cares. That's why we do what we do as officers. That's why we go to this event every year, to try to brighten their day and make them happy and just bring a smile to their face. And just if we have a chance to meet them, that's even more special. So we're hoping to get back in the lobby. I'm not sure if you were there years ago when we had our ceremony in the lobby, and we had about 20 to 25 bagpipers lead the way. So that's something I'm working on as well. So hopefully that'll happen. But I think visiting with the kids as a whole, with 250 officers, probably not going to happen because of COVID. Because you don't want to bring, because there's going to be, you know, there's flu season and COVID and
Yeah,
that sort of thing. So I don't think that's going to happen. But even if we can just get inside the lobby,
yeah,
I would be happy.
that'd be a huge win. Now, what advice, personally and from putting on this event for 20 years, would you give to somebody who's facing a tough diagnosis or a tough challenge? Would you want to?
Well, personally, just, I mean, you take a day at a time. I mean, I think that's part of my calling too, is to be an inspiration to people and kids, and share my story and my testimony, and say, you know what, I shouldn't be here. You know, like we talked about earlier, my chances of survival are only 30%, but I'm still here after 38 years later.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it's gotten better. It's not as bad. It's not as difficult as it was years ago, like the story I told. But just day at a time, miracles happen, and you just hope and pray for the best. And a lot of times, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for my friends and family.
yeah,
And that's when your friends and family come to the forefront and support you and love on you, and do whatever they can to help you get through this journey.
yeah, absolutely.
And you don't have to walk this journey by yourself. And I tell people that, you know, because I get people, I don't want any help. I don't need your help at this and that. And that's okay. But there's people out there willing to help you and support you.
Yeah, and a lot of them have walked that journey, so
Yes.
they've you know, almost like having a guide. They can just help you
Right.
as you're
Exactly.
processing and dealing with everything. Well, how are things going for preparation for this year?
It's I'm going to kick it into gear
Yeah,
pretty soon. So it's, you know, there's certain things that I got to do and update some things, but I think we will definitely reach out for more donations and gift
Yeah.
cards. We never have enough. So yeah, it's no, I'm not going to say I can do it in my sleep, but
yeah,
I'm not that confident. But you know, I have the template, like I said,
yeah,
so I know what I got to do. I know what I got to send out. I'll send out that email to all my contacts in all the different departments. One of my goals every year is 40 agencies.
Mhm.
We've come close. I think last year we had 32, but my goal every year is to reach that 40 number. I don't know
Yeah.
why it's 40, but if we can reach 40 agencies, I think I don't know why. It's just,
Yeah,
that's a lot of agencies.
It's
to
a
be
good
honest with you.
benchmark. Yeah, come on, everybody, jump in the pool. The water's fine. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so it's just, I mean, it's been difficult because of the shortages and COVID and all these things. But I just tell agencies, just send me one officer,
Yeah.
send me one car. That's all I'm asking. And most do, but you know, manpower issues are difficult. But that's my goal this year. So we'll probably reach between 35 and 40 agencies this year.
Nice. That's hopefully we exceed that. But yeah, that'd be a
Yeah,
great goal.
that's the plan.
Well, what legacy do you hope this work will leave behind for both law enforcement and the families that have experienced the benefit from this?
I think as a whole, I think officers are giving. I'm not saying I'm a special guy. I'm not saying I'm a giving guy. It's just because of my experience. That's why I'm passionate about what I do. So, there's many officers besides myself. I know some of your officers in your department, when we helped Caden,
Yeah.
and they reached out to me about honoring Caden to make him an honorary Adams County Sheriff's deputy. So, so I'm one of many. I am not just the only one. Officers are very giving. It just shows people a different side of us. I mean, sometimes we have to arrest people or do things because of their behavior, not because of our behavior, because of their choices. So I think it just shows people a different side. And like I said, I could step away tomorrow, but I think we fulfilled many dreams, and I think we fulfilled. I think we made a lot of positive strides in what we were doing for the past 23 years. So
I agree. I mean, I've had friends within our agency, and I know you've had within your own, and some neighbors who've, just even the comfort of getting a blanket donated for when they're sitting through chemotherapy, and just knowing that there's an army of people supporting them as they're sitting through some of those treatments.
And that was another project because I deal with the senior population. We had 600 handmade quilts made. So we give those quilts away to cancer survivors or cancer patients. So, I mean, that's just a little gift that we can give them.
Yeah.
And when we go to hospitals, that's what we give them. So
That's incredible.
Just a special gift for them.
That's awesome. Well, you mentioned it. So, people can get involved now, obviously through donations. Can they get involved if we have like a sewing group? Could they donate quilts or things like that? Is there a way to do that?
We kind of stepped away from the healing quilt program because we have a quilting bee in Aurora, but we still have some left. But we are a 501c3, we're nonprofit. So they can go to our Facebook page, Cops Fighting Cancer, or they can go to our website, copsfightingcancer.org, and donate there. Like I said, we're going to be on a campaign coming soon to get more donations for our gift card campaign. So, I mean, like I said, it's about $9,000, and just to put this event on together is about between $10,000 and $15,000.
And like you mentioned too, you're not just benefiting the Aurora Police Department or kids within the city of Aurora. These kids are coming from all over our state, all over Colorado, out of state. So that donation, just the impact just reverberates all through the entire community.
Right. And it's not just, like you said, not just Aurora, it's the Denver metro area. We've helped people down in Grand Junction, down south, up in the mountain areas. I mean, as far as east, Burlington, that area. So, I mean, cancer does not discriminate. Doesn't matter where you live. But like I said earlier, we are only able to help people living in Colorado or being treated in Colorado at the time.
I guess, and circle back to, was there anything that you learned in your career that kind of prepared you for either your own healing journey or supporting others? I mean, anything from like the law enforcement side, because I know we teach on just mindset and resilience. Did you lean on any of that?
I think people have a misconception about law enforcement officers that they're not compassionate, and that's not true. We do what we do because we are compassionate and empathetic. Some more than others, but my journey just happened to be that I got cancer and I happened to become a police officer. So they kind of went side by side. So I think it just, like I said, it just shows the public a different side of who we really are.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And what a great way to showcase that for such a great cause.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you guys.
Thanks for coming out. And we look forward to just hearing from James that they've just been overwhelmed with donations and with agencies participating. So hopefully everybody out there can get involved. So remember, go to the Cops Fighting Cancer social media, Facebook, email address one more time, or
copsfightingcancer.org is our website. So it'll come directly to me.
Yeah. So he's checking it.
Yeah,
so hope he eyeballs on it.
I do.
And then for anything else, any questions, episode ideas, anything we can clarify or just feature on future episodes, just feel free to email us. We have a new email address now. So it's communityconnections@adamsheriffco.gov. Until next time, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks
All right,
again.
take care.